I tell you a simple story about a sunny day in the park, and I keep my words easy, and I keep my rhythm slow, and I use commas for small breaths, and I use periods for gentle stops, and I keep everything in one long piece so you can relax while you listen, and you can learn step by step without stress, and you can smile at small jokes, because smiles are free and good for the heart. I wake up early, and I see soft light at the window, and I hear birds in the street, and I think today is a park day, and I feel happy, and I stretch my arms, and I take a deep breath, and I say in my head, calm and kind, ready and steady, and I stand up, and I make the bed, and I smooth the blanket, and I tap the pillow like a small drum, and the pillow is quiet, and that is good, because noisy pillows are very rare and a little scary. I go to the kitchen, and I boil water, and the pot sings a tiny song, and I make tea for me, and I pour warm milk into a small cup, and I cut a banana, and I slice an apple, and I put peanut butter on bread, and I draw a smile with jam, and breakfast is ready, and the plate looks like a happy face, and the happy face looks at me, and I try not to eat the smile first, because the smile is the best part, but I eat it anyway, and I laugh alone, and that is fine, because morning laughter is healthy and free. I think about the park, and I pack a simple bag, and I add water, and I add wet wipes, and I add a small ball, and I add a small first aid bandage, because knees have big dreams and sometimes meet the ground, and I add a hat, and I add sunscreen, and I add two cookies for later, and I close the bag, and I feel ready. I wash my hands, and I brush my teeth, and I comb my hair, and I choose a soft shirt, and I tie my shoes, and the laces make a nice bow, and the bow says in my imagination, I will hold, do not worrying, and I say thank you, bow, and we move on. We step outside, and the air is fresh, and the sky is blue, and the sun is warm but friendly, and the street is calm, and the trees wave with green hands, and I hear a bus far away, and I hear a bike near me, and I walk carefully, and I look both ways, and I cross the street, and I see the gate of the park, and the gate is open like two arms, and I walk inside. The grass is bright, and the path is clean, and the flowers show many colors, and the wind smells like leaves and summer, and it feels good. And I sit on a bench for a moment, and I listen, and I hear children laugh, and I hear a dog bark once. And then the dog remembers his manners, and he is quiet, and I smile, because polite dogs are nice citizens. I stand and walk to the open field, and I take the ball from the bag, and I bounce the ball, and the ball says bowing in my head, and I kick the ball, and I chase the ball, and I kick again, and I run a little, and I stop a little, and I breathe. And I feel my legs wake up, and I feel my heart move like a soft drum, and I feel alive. I see a small hill, and I roll the ball up the hill, and the ball goes down, and it tries to escape, and I catch it, and I say in my head, nice try, little round friend, and I roll it again, and I catch it again, and we play this game 3 times, and I win 2 times, and the ball wins 1 time, and the score is fair. I drink water, and the water is cold, and my body says thank you, and I sit under a tree, and the shade is cool, and the ground is soft, and I close my eyes for 10 breaths, and I count slowly, and I feel calm, and I open my eyes, and I see a family with a red kite, and the kite goes up, and the kite goes down, and the string is a bright line, and the wind is the boss today, and the wind says go, and the kite goes, and it looks like a small bird with a long tail. I stand again, and I walk to the pond, and I see ducks, and the ducks are very busy, and they swim in a small group, and they look like serious workers with yellow faces and tiny suits. And I laugh at my silly idea, and I throw no food, and I only watch because the sign says do not feed. And I obey the sign, and the ducks obey the water, and everyone is happy. I take a short path near the trees, and I see a squirrel, and the squirrel sees me, and the squirrel stops, and the squirrel thinks, and then the squirrel runs up the tree, and I whisper in my mind, "Good job, fast friend," and the squirrel looks like a small gray acrobat with a big tail, and it jumps and it disappears into leaves, and I feel lucky to see it. I check the time, and I feel a little hungry, and I walk to the ice cream cart, and the cart is white and blue, and it has a big bell, and the bell rings, and everyone looks, and the bell is the boss now, and I choose a small cone with vanilla, and the seller hands it to me, and I smile, and the first lick is cold and sweet, and I feel 5 years old again, and I love this magic, and I sit on a bench, and I eat slowly, and I try not to make a mess, and I fail a little, and a tiny drop falls on my shirt, and I say in my mind, it is okay, this is a souvenir, and souvenirs are memories with sugar. I see a playground, and I walk near it, and I keep a safe distance, and I watch the swings move, and I hear the chains sing, and the rhythm is nice, and the slide is shiny, and the children go up and down, and up and down, and the parents talk softly, and the air is full of small stories and small victories, and it feels like a happy festival without tickets. I take the ball again, and I practice small kicks, and I set a goal with 2 water bottles, and I kick the ball through the bottles, and I clap for myself, and I say in my head, champion of the tiny league, and I laugh, and the wind laughs too. And maybe the bottles laugh, but they do not fall, and they do not break, and they do their job with pride. I feel warm, and I walk to a fountain, and I wash my hands, and the water is cold and clear, and the drops run away fast, and I dry my hands on a towel from the bag, and the towel is a hero again, and I put the towel back. I sit on the grass, and I open a small book, and I read 3 pages, and the story is simple, and the words are kind, and the lines are short, and I enjoy the slow music of easy English, and I learn one new phrase, and I repeat it in my head, and I smile because a new phrase is a new key, and keys open doors, and I like new doors. I stand, and I walk toward the big trees, and I look up, and the leaves are green clouds, and the branches are brown roads, and the sky plays hide and seek, and it wins every time, and I think about life, and I think about rest, and I think about small steps, and I think about how a park is like a teacher, and the lesson is simple. Move a little, breathe a little, drink water, feel the sun, touch the grass, watch a bird, laugh at a small joke, and be kind to your knees and your shoes. I open the bag, and I take the 2 cookies, and I eat one, and I save one for later, and I drink more water, and I sit again, and I write 3 lines in a tiny notebook, and I write, the sky is blue, the ball is fast, the ice cream is sweet, and I add a small smile next to each line, and the page looks friendly, and I feel ready for the rest of the day. I decide to walk around the whole park, and I start at the north gate, and I follow the path to the east trees, and I pass a bench with a small plaque, and I read the name, and I say in my mind, hello to this person. Thank you for the bench. And I keep walking, And I see a gardener with a hat, and the hat is big and smart. And the gardener waters flowers with care, and the flowers drink and smile. And the bees come to work, and they are busy but calm. And I give them space, and they give me peace. I come to a small bridge, and under the bridge there is a tiny stream, and the water moves like glass snakes, and it makes a soft sound, and the sound is like a whisper, and the whisper says, slow is good, steady is good, kind is good, and I agree, and I stand for a moment, and I breathe with the water, and then I go on. I reach a quiet corner, and I sit on a flat stone, and I take off my shoes for 1 minute, and my feet say thank you, and I move my toes, and I feel the grass, and the grass is cool and soft, and I put my shoes on again, and I tie the laces, and the bows stand tall like small ears, and I say in my head, ready again. I look at the sky, and a cloud looks like a sleepy cat, and I smile, and I think the cat needs a tiny coffee, and I think the coffee needs a tiny cup, and I laugh at the picture in my head, and I feel light. I check the time, and I see the afternoon is moving, and I decide to head home, and I take one last walk by the pond, and the ducks wave goodbye with small tails, and the water sends a bright hello with the sun, and I wave back with my hand and with my heart, I move to the exit, and I pass the playground again, and the swings are slower now, and the slide shines less, and the small festival is closing, and the bell on the ice cream cart is quiet, and the cart is resting after hard work. And I respect the cart because making people happy is a real job. I reach the gate, and I step out, and the street is still calm, and the sky is still blue, and the sun is still warm, and I walk home with soft steps, and I think about dinner, and I think about a simple soup, and I think about bread, and I think about tea, and I think about a short story after dinner, and I think about an early sleep, and I feel good. I arrive at home, and I wash my hands, and I put the bag down, and I put the ball back in its box, and the ball is safe, and it rests like a round cat, and I clean my shoes, and I change my shirt, and I drink water again, and I sit for a minute, and I close my eyes, and I say thank you day, thank you park, thank you feet, thank you sun, thank you wind, thank you ducks, thank you ice cream, thank you small jokes, and I open my eyes, and I feel calm. I start dinner, and I chop carrots, and I chop onions, and I add them to a pot, and I add water and salt and a little rice, and the pot sings again, and I stir slowly, and I taste, and I smile, and the kitchen smells warm and safe, and the clock moves slowly on the wall, and the house is gentle, and the room is clean, and the table is ready for plates. I eat, and I rest, and I read a few more lines from the small book, and I place the book on the table, and I set a glass of water next to it, and I clean the pot, and I clean the spoon, and I wipe the counter, and the kitchen shines, and I like this simple order. I prepare for evening, and I take a warm shower, and I put on soft clothes, and I make tea, and I sit near the window, and I look at the sky again, and now it is orange and pink, and it looks like fruit and candy at the same time, and I laugh quietly because the sky is a chef and a designer too, and no one pays the sky, and the sky still works hard, and that is very kind. I pack the bag for tomorrow, and I write a tiny note, and I write water, snack, hat, ball, wet wipes, and I draw a small star, and I close the bag, and I put it by the door, and I feel ready for another day. I think about the park again, and I remember the field, and I remember the hill, and I remember the kite, and I remember the ducks, and I remember the ice cream, and I remember the bridge, and I remember the stream, and I remember the grass under my feet, and I remember the quiet. Lesson. Move a little, breathe a little, drink water, feel the sun, touch the grass, watch a bird, laugh at a small joke, and be kind to your knees and your shoes. And I keep this lesson in my pocket because pockets are great for small wisdom. Night comes and I turn off the big light, and I turn on a soft lamp, and I open the window a little, and the room breathes, and the air is fresh. And I set an alarm for the morning, and I put my phone away from the bed, and I stretch my back, and I lie down, and I pull the blanket, and I put my head on the pillow, and the pillow is cool, and the blanket is warm, and this is a perfect team, and my eyes close slowly. I breathe in and out, and I count to 5, and I count to 5 again. And I let all parts of the day fall into place. And I let my mind put the memories on quiet shelves. And I let my body rest. And I say good night to the bench. And good night to the ball. And good night to the ducks. And good night to the red kite. And good night to the ice cream bell. And good night to the gardener. And good night to the little stream. And good night to the bright grass. And good night to the soft wind, and good night to my silly jokes, and good night to my busy feet, and good night to my brave knees, and good night to my big heart, and good night to the blue sky, and good night to the orange and pink sky, and good night to the stars that will come soon. And I rest. I dream that I am back in the park, and the ball is a friendly planet. And I am a small astronaut with comfortable shoes, and I kick the planet in slow motion, and it makes a perfect circle, and the ducks clap with tiny wings, and the kite becomes a comet, and the grass becomes a soft galaxy, and I float for a moment, and I laugh without sound, and I wake before the alarm, and I feel clear and light. Morning will come again, and I will make tea again. And I will choose an easy plan again. And I will be thankful again. And I will visit the park again soon. And I will take the ball. And I will buy one ice cream. And I will sit under a tree. And I will breathe. And I will move a little. And I will drink water. And I will watch a bird. And I will laugh at one small joke. And I will be kind to my knees and my shoes. And I will keep simple words, and I will keep gentle commas, and I will keep clear periods, and I will keep this long A1 story safe in my heart, and I will share it with you when you need a calm night and an easy smile. And I will say, this is our day in the park, and this is our soft lesson, and this is our simple joy, and now we rest.